And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Cinderella, based on the story of Cinderella. Once upon a time, there lived a young girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 3 ugly, mean stepsisters named Olive, Nina, and Esme. Olive, Nina, and Esme made Cinderella do all the chores. "Sweep the floors, wash the dishes," said Olive, Nina, and Esme. One day, the king of Onlyville's messenger said, hear ye, the king of Onlyville is going to throw a ball. And whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Singling. But Cinderella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are. Olive said, he's going to marry me. Nina said, no way, Olive. He's going to marry me. Esme said, both of you are wrong. He's going to marry me. Later, Cinderella is so sad that she cannot go to the ball and marry Prince Singling. Suddenly, her fairy godmother arrives and asks Cinderella what is wrong. Why are you crying, Cinderella? She asks. Cinderella responds, I wanted her to go to the ball and marry Prince Singling, but I'm not welcome. The fairy godmother waved her wand and chanted the magic word, Winnity, Waterity, one! And then, Cinderella's chores are all done. But the fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, Cinderella, go fetch me a good old pumpkin. Luckily, Cinderella has one pumpkin. The fairy godmother waved her magic wand and chanted the magic word, Winnity, Waterity, one! Again, and to turn Cinderella's do-rag and clothes into a gown. I've never seen such a wonderful gown. I get a load of my glass slippers, and then the pumpkin into a carriage drawn by 2 strong horses. The fairy godmother said, have fun, Cinderella, but I will warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken. Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Singling was wondering who he should marry. Olive, Nina, and Esme said all together, he's walking towards me. But he's not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards Cinderella. Cinderella and Prince Singling dance happily together. But later, Cinderella realized it's almost midnight. So she scurried out of the ball, and she was running so fast that she lost one of her glass slippers. Prince Singling was so worried that he might never see Cinderella again. So he traveled around Onlyville to find her and brought the glass slipper with him. He knocked on the door of the house where her Cinderella and her stepsisters lived. He said, ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try this glass slipper? Olive is first, but her foot is too big. Nina is next, but her foot is too small. Esme is last, but her foot didn't fit either. Suddenly, Prince Singling noticed Cinderella singing. Cinderella said, Prince Singling, is that you? Prince Singling said, of course it's me. Cinderella gets so excited because she's having to have her Prince Singling back. And they lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story before bed, Hinder's Doors. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share to my video. Take care. Bye and good night, everybody. Andrew's Doers. Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Cinderella 2, Wishes Come True. It's this. It is based on Cinderella 2, Dreams Come True. Once upon two times, Cinderella and Prince Singling were happily married. 6 months later, they are pregnant, but Cinderella is sick, so the baby might die. Cinderella's fairy godmother knows a spell that can cure her. She chants the magic words, Winnerly, Wannerly, One, and waves her magic wand, and the baby is cured. And the baby is a boy named Oliver. Olive, Nina, and Esme have a few tricks up their sleeves, though. They are complaining about not marrying Prince Singling. Another 6 months later, Oliver is almost 6 months old. And he can't wait to have his royal birthday party, and it's tomorrow. The next day is Oliver's royal birthday party. Cinderella asks, what about our gift, father-in-law? Oliver has now a magical necklace previously owned by the King of Onlyville when he was a baby. He needs to make a wish, rub the jewel on it, and the wish will come true. The King of Onlyville's imaginary wakes him up now. Sees that Olive, Nina, and Esme are breaking into the party. He says, oh no, they're trouble! Oh, big trouble! He then goes over to the king and tells him, Your Majesty, your son and daughter-in-law are in trouble. The King of Onlyville gets so infuriated he yells, sound the alarm! The King of Onlyville blows a trumpet that the king's guards hear an attack. Olive, Nina, and Esme attempt to escape. Oliver said, and I wish Olive, Nina, and Esme are trapped, rubs the jewel on it. Olive, Nina, and Esme are now trapped in the castle's dungeon. And so, the birthday party is saved. And he, alongside his parents, lives happily ever after. The end. Andrew's Doors, I hope you enjoyed this story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Andrew Does Everything. And buy our merchandise. Take care. Bye. And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents you guys Andrew's Doors Cinderella 3, Love and Glee, the second sequel to Cinderella based on the story of Cinderella. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon 3 times, Cinderella and Prince Singling really loved each other. Well, that's about to change, thanks to Olive, Nina, and Esme, who are making a single forever breakup potion, the most evil magic potion known to Onlyville. The next day is Oliver's very first birthday party. Olive, Nina, and Esme sneak up behind a fence next to the gate to the party. Cinderella's fairy godmother tries to stop them, but Olive, Nina, and Esme steal her wand and lock her up, and then splash the potion on Cinderella and Prince Singling, who are breaking up. Oliver asks Wonderella's fairy godmother, "Is there anything I could do to reverse it?" Wonderella's fairy godmother explained that there's only one thing that can reverse the single forever breakup potion. The 1+1 bat together potion. It needs 10 apples from the garden of the whistling nose, 11 dashes of 1,000 unicorns, and the most important ingredient of all, one huge dose of love. First, Oliver needs 10 apples. The whistling nose is very kind. He even lets Oliver have his 10 apples from his trees. Next, he needs 11 dashes of 1,000 unicorns. Hey! The whistling nose already has 11,000 unicorns. Later, back at home, Oliver makes the 1+1 bat together potion, and Wonderella and Prince for Singling are bat together, and Wonderella's fairy godmother got her wand back. And they all lived happily ever after. The end. Andrew's Doers, if you want to see maybe on someday Wonderella 4, The Legend of Mount Singlemore, tell your friends about it. And if you, maybe this can be a 22N daily tradition, etc. Take care, Andrew's Doers. Bye. And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Wonderella 4, For Once on the Shore, a third sequel to Wonderella, based on the story of Cinderella. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon 4 times, Wonderella and Prince Singling are taking Oliver to the beach for the very first time. Suddenly, Wonderella's fairy godmother arrives and says, "Singlings, I don't want to interrupt, but there's a 4-1 store heading for you. The only way to stop this is this magical pencil. Just write plus, minus, times, divide, parentheses, etc., and the 4-1 store will be gone." She then hands them a magical pencil that can stop the 4-1 storm. But the 4-1 storm is here. Oliver uses the magical pencil to solve it. 1 over 1 times over 1 equals 1. 1 over 1 plus 1 over 1 equals 2, etc. And the 4-1 stop is gone. Storm, that is. But Olive, Nina, and Esme have lots of tricks up their sleeves. They're in a submarine to steal Oliver and take him underwater. But their plan is interrupted by an evil Autopan named Wuncela. Wuncela then asks Olive, Nina, and Esme if they'd like to team up, and so they agree. Later, Queen Young and King Singleton's of One Lantis' messages sent when he saw Wuncela, Olive, Nina, and Esme. "Oh no, we're in trouble! Oh, big trouble! Oh no! And goes over to and tells Queen Wanya and King Sinton one of us about it by saying, "My lord and lady, Wuncela has escaped, and she teams up with her evil mortal ladies." King Sington gets so infuriated that he yells, "Sound the alarm!" Then Queen Wanya and King Sington's One Lantis' messenger blows a trumpet alarm that his guards hear. They're gonna attack. Wanya gets so infuriated about it. Olive, Nina, and Esme, however, say, "Don't worry, Wuncela, we'll stop them." And activate a submarine claw only for King Sington to use his trident to destroy the claw and submarine, resulting in it being damaged and sinking. Wansela tries to swim after them to save them, but Wanderella's fairy godmother, Oliver, and Kingston combine their magic to drown Wansela in an ice cube. Mommy! Whimpers Wansela as she sinks in the ice cube. Later, back on the surface, Oliver returns and is getting ready to build sandcastles, and he, along with Cinderella and Prince Singly, lived happily ever after. The end. Andrew's Doers, I hope you enjoyed this story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Andrew Does Everything. And don't forget to buy our merchandise, visit andrewdoeseverything.com. And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Cinderella 5 to the Skies Up High, a forced sequel to Cinderella based on the story of Cinderella with a bit of a twist. Once upon 5 times, the King of Onlyville has an announcement for his grandson and Oliver and everyone in the neighborhood. But before he could get the words out, the announcement is interrupted by his evil younger sister, Asya. She says, "How are things going in Onlyville, older brother?" To which the King of Onlyville responds, "Pretty good." Later, Asya catches Cinderella and Prince Singling in her hot air balloon. Oliver tries to save them by grabbing the rope and pulling the hot air balloon down. But the hot air balloon is flying too high. So it's no use. Oliver is now way up into the sky. But he doesn't give up though. He climbs to Asya, so up and so high, but Asya increases the burner to go higher and pushes Oliver off. Meanwhile, Olive, Nina, and Esme are flying in a hot air balloon of their own, looking for Oliver and Prince Singly. "I don't see Wonder Winch and Prince Singling anywhere," said Olive. "Me neither," said Nina. Esme, the youngest stepsister, says, "Although I do see another hot air balloon with Wonder Winch and Prince Singling." Then, "What did I just say? Wonder Winch and Prince Singling. I found them," Nina says. "Hoist the suction cup launcher, Esme." But they hit the wrong target, and instead of hitting Wanderella and Prince Singling, they hit their son, Oliver, who gets stuck in the suction cup launcher. Olive, Nina, and Esme get furious and get ready to launch and Oliver out of the suction cup launcher. "Where should we launch our stuff, new Olive?" asks Esme. Olive sees a tower with a kid-sized knight's armor and with a kid-sized horse that can be really strong. 1,000,000 times stronger than steel. Oliver then gets launched into the tower and then stuck in the armor. Asya was so impressed about it that she asked Olive, Nina, and Esme if they'd like to team up, and so they agree. Oliver doesn't give up though. Oh, suddenly they hear a whinny come from the bottom of the tower. It was a winged horse. And so Oliver climbs onto the winged horse's back and gets ready to like, "Hiya!" he said to the winged horse to make him go. He then uses the sword to cut the rope attached to the cage that causes Cinderella and Prince Singling to fall out of the cage. Luckily, Oliver steers them to safety and uses the sword to pop both Nina's and Esme's balloons. Yeah. And see. And then the balloons are leaking air that they're flying around like crazy. You won't get away with this. Olive, Nina, and Esme all together said, but Asya falls into a chasm. Later, back at Onlyville, the king of Onlyville officially declares his grandson, Onlyville's only flying knight, and they all lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story, Andrews Doers. I've been debating on making the sequels a bit of tradition. So if you want to see maybe someday Cinderella 6, something like that. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and Does Everything. And buy our merchandise at DoesEverything.com. And maybe I can do it a bit of tradition. Yeah. And take care, Rangers Doers. Have you found your princess or princess? Let me know. And bye. And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents 15erella. It is based on the story of Cinderella. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, there was a young girl named 15erella. 15erella had 7 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters named Fiona, Isabella, Farah, Tina, Eliza, Eloise, and Nina. All 7 of them made 15erella do all the chores. Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all, said 15, Fiona to Nina all together. One day, the king of Quintacumbleham's messengers arrived and said, Hear ye, the king of Quintacumbleham is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Quintacumbling. But 15erella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are. They then argue over who will marry Prince Quintacumbling. Later, 15erella is so sad doing chores about not going to the ball and marrying Prince Quintacumbling. Suddenly, her fairy godmother asks 15erella what's wrong by saying, Why are you crying, 15erella? 15erella responds in whimper, I can't go to the ball and marry Prince Quintacumbling, but I have lots of chores to be done. 15erella's fairy godmother said, I can help with a bit of magic. She chants the magic words, Quintadentity, Quintadentity, Quindu, and waves her magic wand. Because of that, 15erella's chores are done, but her fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, 15erella, go fetch me a pumpkin. Luckily, 15erella has 15 pumpkins. 15erella's fairy godmother chants the magic words, Quintadentity, Quintadentity, Quindu, again, and waves her magic wand again to turn the 15 pumpkins into a handsome coach drawn by 30 strong horses, and then 15erella's ripped clothes into a gown and crown. 15erella said, I've never seen such a quintuple-tastic gown, and get a load of my glass slippers. Fairy godmother, how can I ever thank you enough? 15erella's fairy godmother said, Well, you can't, But have fun, 15erella, but I would warn you. Return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken, and everything will change back to the way it was before. 15erella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Quintuppling was wondering who he should marry. Fiona to Nina say all together, "He's walking towards me!" But he's not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards 15erella. Prince Quintuppling then asks, "May I have this dance?" 15erella responds, "I would be delighted." 15erella and Prince Quintuppling danced happily together. But later, 15erella realized it's almost midnight, so she scurried out of the ball, and she was running so fast that she lost one of her glass slippers. Prince Quintuppling was really worried that he might never see 15erella again, so he traveled all around Quintupplingham to find her and brought the glass slipper with him. By the time he arrives, he knocks on the door of the home where 15erella and her ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters lived. But instead of 15erella, Prince Quintuppling finds Fiona to Nina. He then said, "Ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try on this glass slipper?" Fiona is first, but her foot is too big. Isabella is next, but her foot is too small. The rest are the same, but none of their feet are the right size. Suddenly, Prince Quintuppling notices 15erella's sweet singing. The glass slipper fits! 15erella gets so excited because she's happy to have Prince Quintuppling back. And they both lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story, Andrews Doers. And if you want to see some sequels, tell your friends about it. And maybe I can do it. A big tradition. Take care. Bye. And now, Andrews Everything proudly presents 15erella 2. 15 Wishes Come True. Sequel to 15erella, which is based on the story of Cinderella. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon two times, 15erella and Prince Quintuppling were happily married. But Fiona, Isabella, Farah, Tina, Eloise, and Nina have lots of tricks up their sleeves. Several weeks later, 15erella is pregnant but very ill. It's a good thing 15erella's fairy godmother knows a spell that can cure her. So she chants the magic words. Quintidentity, quintidentity, quindu! And waves her magic wand. Because of that, the baby is cured and a girl. They name her Fatima. A week later, to celebrate Fatima's birth, they put on a light show. But one night, while 15erella and Prince Quintuppling were sleeping, Fiona, Isabella, Farah, Tina, Eliza, Eloise, and Nina steal Fatima and take her to the middle of nowhere. The king of Quintupplingh's messengers saw it and said, "Oh no, she's in trouble! Oh, big trouble! Oh no! He then goes over to the king of Quintuppling and tells him, "Your Majesty, your granddaughter is captured." The king of Quintupplingham gets so infuriated that he yells, "Sound the alarm!" And his messenger blows a trumpet alarm that his guards hear in order to find Fatima. 15erella and Prince Quintuppling were really worried. that they might never see Fatima again. But Fiona, Isabella, Farah, Tina, Eliza, Eloise, and Nina. This plan is interrupted by Fatima's foster parents, Fernando and Florence. Fernando said, "What are you doing all alone, little lady?" Florence responds, "I don't know, darling. Let's take her home." "Come back with our Stephanie," said Fiona, Isabella, Farah, Tina, Eliza, Eloise, and Nina all together. And Tina was 15 years later. Fatima is a teenager now, and she's playing with a group of teenage girls, but then said, "Wait, where does that cave lead?" As she finds a strange cave and goes outside to find out. She finds a magic lamp. Meanwhile, back at Quentin Cunningham, Cinderella and Prince Quentin Cunningham are now full of despair, as they will never see Fatima again. Fatima rubs the magic lamp, and a genie comes out of the lamp and says, "Oh, thank you so much, young lady. I've been stuck in the lamp for 15,015 years. You rubbed the lamp and set me free. As a thank you for that, I must grant you 15 wishes." Suddenly, someone screamed, "Help! Someone is stuck in quicksand!" Fatima uses her first wish to get him out by saying, "I wish he was out of the quicksand." The genie said, "Your wish is my command." Because of that, he was out. Later, Fernando and Florence then tell Fatima where they found her. Near Quinticumham. Fatima is surprised about the news, and so she begins her journey home. Another 15 years later, Fatima uses the other 13 wishes. She is 30 years old now and only has one wish left. Fiona, Isabella, Farah, Tina, Eloise, and Nina tried to steal her again but couldn't find her. They complain except for Nina, who found Fatima. Fatima uses her 15th and final wish and says, "I wish my evil stab hands would not stop me." The genie said, "Your wish is my command." And turned Fiona, Isabella, Farah, Tina, Lisa, Eloise, and Nina into stone statues. A celebration in Quinticumham welcomes Fatima home. Cinderella and Prince Quinticumham were really worried and hugged Fatima to welcome their daughter home. And they all lived happily ever after. The end. Sure is a fun story, right? And if you want to see maybe tomorrow, 15 3, Quinticumham Love and Glee, tell your friends about it. Maybe this could be a daily tradition. Take care. Bye. And now, Anna Knows Everything proudly presents 15 a Quinticumham Spree. A second sequel to 15 based on the story of Cinderella. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon 3 times, 15 and Prince Quinticumham and their 30-year-old daughter Fatima went for a walk. Suddenly, someone screamed, "Help! A man named Felix is stuck under a rock." Fatima tries to lift the rock to save Felix, but she's not strong enough. 15's fairy godmother, comes to help and cast a spell to lift the rock. Felix said, Thank you so much, Fatima and Quintuplexing family. And he and Fatima share a kiss. The king at Quintuplexing is so impressed that he offers Felix a visit to the castle. And so Felix agrees, but Fiona, Isabella, Farah, Tina, Eliza, Eloise, and Nina still have lots of tricks up their sleeves. Later, at the castle, Fatima and Felix share a romantic dance. And 15 weeks later, a wedding is planned. And for Fatima and Felix's marriage. But Fiona, Isabella, Farah, Tina, Eloise, and Nina capture Cinderella and Prince Quintuplexing. Felix manages to save his parents alive by killing Fiona, Isabella, Farah, Tina, Eloise, and Nina, only for them to steal Cinderella's fairy godmother's magic wand to catch the storm, resulting in the wedding being ruined and cut short. Fortunately, Fatima manages to use a knife to kill Fiona, the oldest stepsister, that causes her to drop Cinderella's fairy godmother's magic wand and catches it. And not a minute too soon, the wedding is saved! And so are Cinderella and Prince Quintuplexing. The king of Quintuplexing said, "My dear granddaughter, such bravery that there's one thing only, a magical necklace. Just rub the jewel on it, but only for emergencies." Fatima accepted the warning. And then they all lived happily ever after. The end. And Andrew's Doers, if you want to see some more sequels, tell your friends about it. And yes, maybe it can be a daily tradition. And I hope you enjoyed this story. And I bet you want to see 15 4. Take care! Bye! And now, Andrew Knows Everything proudly presents 15 4. The Legend of Mount 15 or More. A third sequel to 15 based on the story of Cinderella. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon 4 times, Fatima and Felix were getting ready to have their very first child. But Fiona, Isabella, Farah, Tina, Eliza, Eloise, and Nina still have lots of tricks up their sleeves. 15 fairy godmother tries to stop them, but they steal her magic wand and lock her up. They then use it to send Fatima and Felix on top of Mount 15 or More. Fatima and Felix don't give up, though. They find a sled to slide down from Mount 15 or More. But along the way, they encounter the legendary Big 15, a scary monster who lives on top of Mount 15 or More, has 3 hands and a question mark on his belly to show the missing number, and loves puzzles. Big 15 said, 15 divided by what equals 5? And what equals 3? That causes him to spit out new friends. The new friends' names are Aiden, Brayden, and Caden. They introduce each other and become good friends. Fatima and Felix then invite Aiden, Brayden, and Caden to the castle, and so they gladly accept. Later, when they are home, the king of Quintuplexing is so impressed, and just in time, Fatima is pregnant. And 15 and Prince Quintuplexing are 75 years old now. And the king of Quintuplexing himself is over 100 years old. A boy is named Fernando. The king of Queen of Compilation great-grandson. The Queen of Compilation. The Cinderella. Prince de Compilation. Grandson. And Fatima and Felix's son. And 15-year-old fairy godmother got her wand back. And they all lived happily ever after. The end. And maybe you're right. Maybe this could be a daily tradition. And good night, everybody. Take care. Bye. Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. And now, Andrew Knows Everything proudly presents 15 Roll of 5. Double Factorial Alive. A fourth sequel to Five-Arella based on the story of Cinderella. Let's tell you this bedtime story, shall we? Once upon 5 times, today was Fernando's very first birthday. But Fiona, Isabella, Farah, Tina, Eliza, and Eloise and Nina still had lots of tricks up their sleeves. They disguised themselves as particles, so no one will know it was them. Meanwhile, the Cinderella says, I want to thank you all for my grandson's birthday gifts. But what about your gift, father-in-law? The king of Queen of Compilation has a magical necklace for Fernando, his great-grandson. But he only remembers one thing and does. Make a wish and rub the jewel on it. Only for emergencies. Surprise! Shouted Fiona, Isabella, Farah, Tina, Eloise, and Eliza and Nina all together. They then steal Fernando and take him to the Double Factorial Desert. By the time they arrive, they feed Fernando a magic potion. But their plan is interrupted by Fernando's foster parents, Blanco and Blakely. Fiona to Nina say, not so fast, all together, and try to protect Fernando. But he says, I wish my evil step grandaunts will get away from me. It rubs the magic jewel on his necklace. Because of that, Fiona, Isabella, Farah, Tina, Eliza, and Eloisa and Nina are swept away. Back at the Queen of Compilation, the king sends his guards to find Fernando. But they see that he drank the magic potion. The king worriedly says, oh, this is horrible news. Who knows what will happen? Blanco and Blakely take Fernando to their house. Fernando grew up 15 years later. He then plays with a group of boys with disc. Only one of them says when the disc is about to hit a marketplace, Fernando, heads up! Fernando rushes to help by leaping 30 feet into the air to catch the disc. But he leaps so high into that he accidentally crashes into a billboard reading fresh red apples that causes the letters to come loose. Fernando tries to put the letters back, but in the wrong order. Dapper flashers. One of the boys says, nice spelling skills, Scornando, and snatches the disc back. After failing so many times, Fernando knows what to do. Uses magic necklace, he said. I wish the letters of the billboard spell fresh red apples and rub the jewels. And not a minute too soon, the right order. The townspeople saw it and were impressed. They were so impressed that the mayor offered him a gold medal with MAGIC on it to honor him. Blanco and Blakely were impressed too. Later, back at Blanco and Blakely's house, they tell Fernando where they found him. 15,000 feet away from the Quintacobleham. Fernando was surprised about the news, and so he begins his journey back home. A decade later, Fernando is 25 years old now. Fiona, Isabella, Farah, Tina, Eloise, and Nina try to find him, but it's no use. Along the way, Fernando hears someone scream for help. A 23-year-old girl named Falara is stuck in quicksand. Fernando uses his magic necklace to help her. He says, "I wish Falara is out of the quicksand," and just in time, Fernando then asks Falara to join him, and so she agrees. A celebration welcomes Fernando home. Fernando tells everyone in Quintacobleham about his journey. His parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents were surprised, and they lived happily ever after. The end. And Andrew's Doers, sorry it's been a few hours, but good night, Andrew's Doers. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Andrew Does Everything. And buy our merchandise, too. And take care. Good night. Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite.